everyone, and welcome back to the Unrestricted podcast. I'm MattyStuntz, and I'm also joined here by Chad Kapper.
Hello.
And Drew Camden, a.k.a. Drib.
Hey guys, coming at you from Colorado. I'm at the Show Me What You Got headquarters, borrowing Jordan's microphone and his awesome studio. If you're watching our video, you can see I got a cool background.
So did they hold you down and do that to your hair, or was that something that was self-inflicted?
No, this was by choice. Once again, hey, by the time this podcast airs, maybe we'll have a whole new color. Keep you guessing.
He failed at his attempt to match my shirt color.
He did a very good job at almost getting there.
If you're not tuned in to video, well, you're missing out on our beautiful faces, but also my blue hair matching Chad's blue shirt. So
it's more indigo.
So it's been a little while for us since we've recorded our last one. What's new with you guys? How did the last quad camp go?
Yeah, the one in Atlanta went excellently. I think despite the rain, so we got hit by rain half the first day and all of the second day. So we tried to, normally what we do is we want the first day to be really focused on building, and then second day, hopefully everyone's got working quads, so we go out and fly. But we knew the rain was coming the second day, so we made that first day accelerated. Anyone that needed help, we tried to get them fixed fast, and, rather than kind of walking people through all the steps, we just did some of the work for them to get it going. So then we got everyone out flying. Everyone broke their stuff, had a great time. It was excellent. And then by the second day, now we had all the repairs to do, and we could take our time walking everyone through it, and there was no pressure to get out and fly because it was raining anyway. And it also turned into a little bit of like a micro extravaganza because there was room to fly some of the micro brushless and, of course, tiny whoops. So we were doing some. Did you see the video, Matty?
It was awesome. And what was the guy's name?
Aaron Ciotti. And
it was an epic Matty flip, that's for sure. And Chad, what about you, man? You said you went into a new studio this weekend or last weekend or something like that?
Well, no, you mean here?
Where's that?
No, okay. So
Chad's
in
still
my
home.
basement.
He just has so many different backgrounds because when he's bored, he just goes there and he's like, let's set up lights and different decorations.
It's like his hobby.
Yeah, some people like to accessorize their outfits. Chad accessorizes his basement studios, plural.
That's what I do, yes. And then we moved the Rotor Riot studio out in California from the I can't say it. Laguna Beach area. I tried so hard. Yeah. Up to Hesperia, where X-Hover is. So we now have two studios up there. We have. What did I say?
You just said X-Hover. So we have X-Hover, Quadbox, and Rotor Riot all performing some functions.
Yes.
Rotor Riot Studio, all performing some stuff in the same building. It's awesome. So yeah, Matty, what's new with you?
So yeah. Anyways, something that's actually a big, I think, in the MattyStuntz world is I basically have stopped working with Team BlackSheep. So, as a sponsorship pilot, I should say.
Boy, we're just jumping right into it.
Yeah. So we were supposed to have Trappy on the show for this episode, and we weren't able to connect the dots. I guess some people were stuck in traffic in LA.
To be fair, when I was moving the studio, I thought I would have time, and I was literally stuck in another hour and a half of traffic that I was not expecting. So it was my fault.
And it's really hard to do podcasts and just set up times like this especially for people in like the Asian time zones. And I think Trappy's in Hong Kong or somewhere near Hong Kong. So either way.
And Trappy is the owner of Team BlackSheep. So Team BlackSheep's a company in the industry. They produce, all sorts of stuff: video transmitters, RF transmitters for control link, cameras, flightboards, frames. Long time industry company, and yeah, Matty, you'd been with them for a while as a sponsored pilot.
Yeah, and like I took on the sponsorship. It was more for not the gear, but more for what Trappy stood for, and just I liked his business model, the way that he actually sponsored pilots. It was it was a very relaxed sponsorship. He would preach that we wouldn't have to really post. There was no post requirements. We could fly whatever we wanted to fly. If we wanted to fly something that wasn't his, we were more than welcome to do that. And that was something that really really attracted me to that sponsorship. And he also makes great gear. But the long and short of it is, basically he gave me an ultimatum, and he said that I could either do the podcast with Rotor Riot or be a sponsored pilot, and I don't really take well to ultimatums, and basically told him, I'm like, listen, I don't think the sponsorship's for me anymore. So that's...
Wait, so hold on, what was the point of contention? Because...
Well, people might not know on the in the community, or even people who are listening on this podcast, Trappy doesn't like Rotor Riot and some people in Rotor Riot. So he wanted to sever all ties to the Rotor Riot regime, and at the very beginning, I asked him. I said, I wanted to work with you guys, and he said, go for it. It didn't bother him, but I guess he got to a point where he just needed to do it for himself. I don't know what it was, but either way, there's
been a bit of a distance, unfortunately. I mean,
there's no way I would stay in a sponsorship if someone was telling me that I couldn't do something else. So it was never like that before, but I guess that his opinion on Rotor Riot is very strongly against it.
From your perspective, against what?
I don't know exactly. No, that's why I wanted to have him on the podcast, right? So it's we
were hoping to kind of bury that. There's been this distance and contention.
I wanted to start this podcast. Like I said, when you guys first came to Vancouver, I wanted to start this podcast, and I wanted to unite the community together. If there was any beef, I wanted to squash it and all that stuff.
We squashed our beef. You had beef with me,
and that's fair. And I really wanted him to come on the show because I think that there was he pulled his product from your guys' shop. I know there's people out there that know that he doesn't like a particular pilot on the team, despises a particular pilot on the team. So it's
putting it lightly.
Yeah, putting it lightly. So it was something where I really wanted him to come on the show, and maybe we could hash things out, and I just wish it would have worked out, but I guess it didn't. So, anyways, it kind of escalated into.
Well, I mean, if a simple scheduling conflict is going to create world war, I don't know how much we would have been able to accomplish.
I don't want to downplay that. I'm a big fan of owning up, to responsibility. And the fact was, it was because of me. I wanted to reschedule, and it was last minute. So I don't want to sidestep that. However, the name calling and that happened afterwards, I felt was over the line. But
yeah, it was. It was just it was more unprofessional than us having to reschedule the podcast. That's for sure.
I mean, he's got a busy schedule.
There was a little bit of respect lost for Trappy in my eyes, to be completely honest. But moving past it, basically looking for sponsors. So if anyone's out there has VTXs, I'm sure Immersion RC or something like that. Is that who's hot nowadays?
Well, I use a little bit of everything. I mean, I do use the Immersion RC for their tramp. But actually, I mean, I recently just bought myself a Crossfire, which is a TBS product, because there is no better option for long range.
Are you allowed to buy their products, Drew?
They can't stop me from. I did buy it under a fake name. Yeah.
Oh,
if you ship something to Mike Smith, gotcha.
This is another thing that I wanted to discuss as well. If any of you guys ever want to see a Team BlackSheep pilot on the podcast, we are not allowed to have them on the podcast.
Wait, what? No, hold on. I didn't know about this.
No, we can do what we want. If the pilots choose
we can do what we want. I asked a couple pilots. I asked Code Red to come on the show, and he said that Trappy said he would let him, but it would probably cause drama. So in a way, Trappy is saying, yes, these pilots are allowed to come on the show, but in his words, he's basically, I think that he's trying to make it sound like, go on the show, you can do whatever you want, but don't do it at the same time. Because I don't see a reason why Cody wouldn't be able to come on the show. And he basically sent me a message back saying, yeah, man, I think we should just not do it right now. It's maybe let the drama simmer down a little bit. But yeah, either way, it's a shame because this is a forum for us to discuss all issues and have the whole community on, and there shouldn't be any restrictions. That's the whole reason why we call it Unrestricted Podcast.
Yeah, I mean,
and
with any
now we
have sometimes there comes
we have a whole roster of pilots that aren't even allowed to come on and discuss their opinion about the show. You know,
well, I mean, I'm not going to blame Trappy for that. Honestly, it's everyone makes their own decision. And, you know, with any sponsorship comes some stipulations. I mean, if you sign with a certain company, you may have to use one of their products exclusively or something like that. I mean, it sounds like Trappy wasn't about that, but, you know, other companies maybe say that you can't be friends with certain people. And, you know, personally,
yeah, you know what, man?
I would never be in that situation. No, that's my decision. So I'm not going to villainize.
The thing is, though, with all my other sponsorships, it's, you know, Rebel and Tiny Whoop are two big ones, right? Mm-hmm. So Tiny Whoop, Jesse provides me with everything Tiny Whoop, and I've been having a blast with it lately, to be completely honest. And then Rebel supplies me with batteries, frames, motors. They're coming out with some other stuff. And these are two people.
I just have to plug real quick. If you haven't heard the term Tiny Whoop for some reason, I mean, it's a huge movement of these little micro drones that.
And they're so much fun.
They are so fun, and actually, that's the reason I'm in Colorado. I was here for the 3rd annual Tiny Whoop Invitational Raceathon, whatever you want to call it. It's basically a giant party concluding in a Tiny Whoop race that, let me tell you, extremely competitive. I tried my hardest to improve my skills and qualified. I couldn't even qualify. I mean, the people the final laps that people were winning with were like 45 seconds faster than me, just like obliterated. It was nuts.
Anyways, really quickly, I just wanted to say, my other sponsors though would never give me an ultimatum.
So all of this has to. Oh, go ahead.
Let's not be one-sided. I don't ever like. I mean, I don't want this to be, you know, our perspective versus, you know, Team BlackSheep or Trappy. I mean, I'm sure there's something on, you know, from his perspective that is deeply bothering him about this situation. I don't know what it is. I have asked directly, and I can't get an answer. I guess I understand, and maybe I'm just not smart enough to understand it. But yeah, I mean, maybe he sees us as hurting his industry. You know, he has said that.
Yeah. He's more than welcome to still come on the show and discuss it. I
don't want to speak for anyone, but I mean, I tried to, and I don't know how this is getting off the topic we planned, but I mean, when I reached out to Trappy, some of the bullet points that I got were, you know, in episodes, his products weren't. If we feature a product on our show, we show all sides of it, what we like and what we don't like. And Team BlackSheep products have been featured in a few episodes, and it is my belief that we explored the what was good about the product and what were some areas that could be improved upon. And Trappy is really proud of his products, and he should be. I mean, they are great products, but I think he prefers when things are just maybe focused more on the positive. But I mean, that just goes against how we try to run how we talk about things. We want to show both sides of the coin. It was the vendetta episode, which was I'm trying to be fair, Chad. I'm trying. Yes, I know it was 2 years ago. And
anyways, I wish he would. I'm sure he's listening, because he tells me that he listens to every episode. So I'm sure he's listening. If you're Trappy, if you're listening, you want to come on the show and discuss your side of it, please do so. You know where to find us. But what are we talking about today?
So all this is pretty. We got right into some of the personal details of it, but what all this kind of sparked was what we wanted to talk about was sponsorship in the industry. Kind of what does it take to be a sponsored pilot? What comes with it? What are some of the benefits, and what are some of the potential downsides of being sponsored that we've already kind of gotten into, and, you know, even more so, what does it mean to actually like work in the industry? So kind of all those things I think are what we wanted to explore today. So
who was your first sponsored or sponsoree? I'm
really not that sponsored.
My first sponsor was Hobby King.
There you go.
I do want to shout out Mini Quad Club, because that was, I guess I would say, my first sponsor. They've been really just good friends. I mean, that was really the nature of my sponsorship, is being friends with the owners, Nick Miller and Travis Mashburn. I mean, they make the frames in America, send them over to me. I get care packages. They keep me supplied with all the carbon I need to crash into bandos and do all that stuff. And I've always enjoyed building and flying those frames and being friends with that company. But beyond that, I personally don't have many others. I mean, I guess I would say I'm sponsored by Rotor Riot. But as far as like companies that want to sponsor for a specific pilot, or companies that want to sponsor for a specific product, some things just haven't worked out. Like, no, I'm not sponsored by Spectrum. I just happen to be a long-time user of it. We've talked about potential things, but we haven't been able to.
They send you stuff, right?
Yeah, they send me stuff, yeah, but I'm not officially on the
officially.
team. Not officially on the team, no. So
that's good if they send you stuff and you don't have to sign the contract saying that you have to only fly their gear and all that stuff. Like, their contract's pretty heavy. So
yeah, I've had a few contracts sent to me, and we're working through. Maybe there could be something in the future that we could come to terms that would work well for both of us in an official capacity. But I mean, right now, yeah, just kind of unofficially being friends with the company and being able to get a first look at their gear and make some instructional videos, because I know a lot of pilots don't fly Spectrum. So being able to do videos on my channel that can help people figure out even simple things like how to bind it reliably. I know it's helped some people, so that's great, and they appreciate it, and I appreciate the free receivers. So,
have they fixed their issues with the receivers? Is it a better link now? Like, do you have many
better link? I've never really had much trouble with Spectrum, but and Spectrum is so there's multiple brands in the industry that produce kind of communications products to get I guess I would say transmitter products, right? So you have your transmitter that talks to your drone, and each one comes with a different protocol. Spectrum uses DSMX, and a lot of pilots have had certain issues. I will say that their protocol is a bit more sensitive to things being correct, meaning that for your diversity antennas, you need to have them at 90 degrees to each other. You need to have them well separated from the carbon. They need to not be bent or damaged in any way. And if you follow all those rules, I've had really great success with the product. I mean, flying through brick walls.
But you
in
can
Detroit.
tell the difference, though, can't you? Between flying with people with Tyrannus. Yeah.
Honestly, what I fly mostly in Detroit, where we are flying inside abandoned buildings.
But you have noticed the difference.
Let me finish. And when I fly in Detroit, what I see is more people on FreeSky failsafe. And that's because with FreeSky, you don't really have to take care of your antennas as much. It's a much more robust connection. So what I'll say is, if we're flying out in an open area and they've got their FreeSky receiver and their antennas are buried in the carbon, breaking all the rules of RF, yeah, they can still outfly me line of sight at a distance. But as soon as we're in the kind of concrete jungle, honestly, I fail safe less than a lot of the FreeSky guys, because I don't know if that's because I do take better care of my antennas and that's where it comes into play, but
I've never had when I flew a Spectrum, I never had a failsafe, and I had a failsafe. A friend of mine who was flying Spectrum or Tyrannus had a failsafe, and I was flying the exact same area. So
let me just say, every drone recovery video on my channel that's due to a failsafe is Jeff failsafing on FreeSky. Just saying. But it happens. I mean, all these are anecdotal things, right? Just because I've had good luck doesn't mean that everyone's going to. So fly what works for you.
I've had failsafes with what's it called, Crossfire.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been my fault the way that I set it up, but I've had failsafes on. Yeah, I think you can have failsafes on everything. It might have even been that I chopped an antenna and I didn't even know, right? So.
And for anyone just getting into this, we've come to colloquially, it's become industry standard term to say failsafe when we mean loss of RF link. So you lose control of your drone. Either you've flown too far or behind too many obstacles, or your antenna's been chopped off and you just have no reception. So any of those could be causing that. So
with sponsorships, I mean, I'm sure people out there, everyone wants to get sponsored because, you get to fly for free, right? You don't have to pay for parts. It's obviously a hobby where we can break stuff easily. So I mean, what do we think? Like when you approach sponsors, how did you do it, Drew?
I typically the sponsorships, like that I have, like with Mini Quad Club, they approached me, and Rotor Riot approached me. The times that I have approached companies, like I've approached a few battery manufacturers, and I've been rejected by all of them. But what I did approach them with it, yeah. But it was a little earlier on. Maybe my following wasn't quite as big. But if you didn't believe in me during my rise, I don't want you now. Whatever. No hard feelings all around. I mean, it's all about, does the relationship work for you? So when I approached them, I said, so, my thing is I'm making, YouTube videos. People ask about what gear I use. I know I can put links in the description, and, they'll see the products in the videos. And I believe in your product. That's why I'm reaching out to you, because it's high quality, and I want to be able to recommend it and help promote it. And the reason that they didn't accept me, as for the ones that even did respond, were at the time they were looking for more racers, right? So they were saying, well, you don't really compete, and we need more people that are competing and winning. We need to see our products on a podium, not people getting coffee on YouTube. they didn't put it quite like that, but that's the truth. So
the people that I've never understood that. I think that the people who have good YouTube channels will always have a higher outreach than people who are racing, because the people who are racing usually don't have the biggest following, because they're focusing on racing.
I want to talk on that point, though. You're right as far as like general exposure, but as far as product credibility, a win does give a product a lot of credibility. So if somebody wins a major race with a particular product, that does give that product instant credibility.
Okay, but is the credibility? It's like the tree falling in the woods. It
does
makes a sound, but if no one's there to hear it, does it actually still make a sound?
And I'm curious. I want to, Matty, what do you think the most popular frame ever is right now? Like most units sold, the most known frame.
Possibly the UAV Charpu, maybe.
Well, that's probably a good one.
I would have said the Alien,
or an Alien,
okay. I was going to say the Alien. And what did Chad win nationals with?
Oh, for Chad, but Chad was a different breed, because Chad also was one of the first ones to win a huge race like that, and he also had a following beforehand. Right, so
that's true, because he's kind of had a foot in both worlds, I guess.
See, this is a really good question. What does it take? What are companies looking for? Are they looking for more racing? Are they looking for more freestyles? And I don't think there's a clear cut. Hey, if you're listening on YouTube, I mean, leave a comment for what you think. Are companies looking for more racers, or are they looking for more freestylers? If you're listening and you own a company, tell me, what do I need to do to get that free swag? What do I got to do? I just need some batteries. Come on.
This guy is going poor here, man. We got to get this hair dye paid for, too. So any Revlon hair dye manufacturing people that can get this guy some fucking hair dye.
Yeah, you know what? No joke. Drew needs a battery sponsor. He goes through batteries like toilet paper.
What about Rebel? Drew, have you talked to Chase? Do you want me to talk to
No, he won't ask anyone. That's the problem.
I asked twice and got said no, and now I'm embarrassed about it. I got to ask for battery sponsors. They don't want to give me.
Listen, you have your name branding and your exposure is huge. I think that you're probably top 5 in the world for exposure in the industry. So
all right, you sold me, Matty. Drew, I will sponsor you with the practice battery from Rotor Riot.
Hey, there we go. That's the secret. If you can't get sponsored, just make your product yourself. I couldn't get another company to sell batteries, so now Rotor Riot just makes batteries.
Oh, I have one of those around here.
I think that the company needs both. I think that every company has a good racer that can win races, and also has a good social media butterfly out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. I see what you're saying, Matty, and I do subscribe to that. I think most people like the video makers are more recognizable because they see them more. They pop up in their feeds more.
So then the powerhouses like Willie FPV or Johnny FPV, who have a YouTube following and very competitive at racing,
right?
Is that the ideal sponsee? You get your social media on, and you're gonna win races.
Of course, yeah. No, that would be the ideal sponsorship for sure, who's making.
So tell me about your personal. So Matt, I mean, I know you've had a lot of sponsors throughout your time. You've been on Rebel for some time. You had with Team BlackSheep. You had some time on Spectrum. I'm sure I'm forgetting some. Tell me who are your most memorable sponsors and what led to that arrangement? Was it for your racing?
Well,
career,
it definitely has to be the relationship with I have with Rebel and Chase, because Chase is not only someone I work with in the FPV world for sponsorships and making product. He's also just an awesome friend, and we've had lots of long conversations. So definitely, he's one of my he's one of my favorite. Jesse obviously is an awesome guy too, but a lot of people say, like, can you maybe introduce me to them, or how do I get sponsorships? I think that a lot of people have to remember that you have to either be winning races or going to events. And you also have to work on your following too. So you got to make those YouTube videos, and you have to basically show sponsorships that you have numbers. If you get to a point where you're big enough of a name, people will start approaching you for sponsorships.
Yeah,
right?
and I want to jump in there because this is a really important point. Because what's going to happen is after this podcast, we're going to get all these people sending us stuff saying they want sponsored, but the number one question I got after starting Flight Test, and this was back in 2010, was how did we get sponsored by Hobby King? And the answer was they called us. Like, everybody called us after
right?
the
So
first.
Flight Test was your first YouTube aviation your first RC based YouTube channel and company, and for a long time it was sponsored by a manufacturer and a retailer called Hobby King, right?
We actually had a lot of sponsors, but Hobby King was the first and the most substantial.
And did you just
monetarily.
say, before I interrupted, that they called you?
Yeah, well, they all did. So after the first episode was released, I got contacted by all the major players: Horizon, Hobbyco, Hobby King, and there were a handful of others. But Hobby King came on really strong and actually made us a really great offer. Financially, and gave us product. Pretty much we could just get on and order whatever we wanted. And and it was really good until they wanted to be exclusive. And they said, okay, it's been about a year and a half and we want you to be exclusive. You can't take on any other sponsors, which we had. We had Hobbyco was sponsoring the website pretty regularly, and it was a great sponsorship. And we had some other smaller sponsors. And and it was really great up until that point. And they gave me, that's so funny. This is like all coming back. When you guys brought up sponsors, I was like, I'm not really going to be into this subject, but I wasn't thinking of the whole history. So they gave me an ultimatum. They said, either we're exclusive or we're going to take away the whole sponsorship. And it was pretty substantial. It was over $20,000 a month. And it was pretty we got used to it, and it made a lot of things possible.
Can we phone them up? Could we still phone them up and get that sponsorship for the Unrestricted podcast?
It's your podcast, Matty. You call whoever you want.
This was 5 years ago, so the same people aren't there, I'm sure. But so I'm sure the same deals don't exist. But either way, I got together with the team and made a decision. We said, no, we're gonna keep our independence. We're gonna keep on track with what we want to do. And it was the best decision. It was the scariest and the best decision I ever made in my life. And because what it did was it forced us to become self-sustaining. And then after becoming self-sustaining, it's just, it continues to grow. Flight Test is, I don't even recognize it in a good way. It's become a wonderful powerhouse in the industry. And, it's very humbling. And to think that we were, this close to giving in on something like that, it was, yeah. So it's so funny. So kudos to you, Matty, because I wasn't making all these connections until just now.
Yeah, well, my integrity as a person is more important than a sponsorship as well, too. So I believe in what we're doing, and I think that it's important, and it's this is more important to me than just getting free product. To be totally honest, I could probably go to pretty much any sponsorship out there and have a pretty good go at getting product. But it's
and I mean that's
not
something that people need to think about. Like what are the trade-offs? Really understand what the sponsor is going to ask for you. So like I was saying, and with some of the other companies that I haven't been able to come to an agreement with, and it's not antagonist. We don't hate each other. We just haven't been able to find something that works for us officially, is because they want more than I believe is worth some free product, right? And that's not saying anything bad about them. I'm just saying, value's not there. I don't want to make this official right now because the product is nice, but I believe what you're asking for is it's not worth it for me. And that's just a personal decision. Has to be every case.
There's definitely some sponsorships out there that will really try to hoe out their pilots, and I don't know if that's the right word to use, but they'll really try to take advantage of them, and those are the people you got to watch out for. And I'm not too keen on those type of sponsorships.
Define taking. How does a manufacturer take advantage of a pilot?
So I think it depends. Everyone at the end of the day, like Drew says, has a choice. They can sign a contract. They can be exclusive. They can get, a certain allowance for parts. And then they have to usually put in a certain amount of work, whether it be a certain amount of events that they have to go to for racing, or just like any type of an event, or a certain amount of social media posts that they have to do every single month, along with YouTube videos and reviews and stuff. There has been some sponsors that I've been sponsored by who wanted me to do all those things, and all they're really giving me is free products. And I think that for that ownership in whatever pilot's name branding, I think for that ownership they deserve a lot more, because it's not like they can just make a commercial and go on TV and that's how they get their marketing done. Their company will survive by having the right pilots that they're sponsoring, pilot team, and it'll definitely not survive, but it'll definitely prosper a little bit more than if they don't have those pilots. So, I mean, if those pilots are their livelihood, they shouldn't be taking advantage of them like that. If that was the case and that was the deal, where I had to make X amount of videos every single month with social media posts, and I could only fly their own gear, I mean, I'm getting a salary check at the end of the day. And I'm getting a revenue share at the end of the day. That's the only way a sponsorship would be able to keep me in those terms, because
I guess I still kind of question the whole notion of being taken advantage of. So when it comes to signing a contract, it's spelled out, and I think unfortunately some people don't always do their homework when they sign some of these contracts. And I think a lot of the people that complain, some of the pilots, some of the professional pilots that and I'm not going to name drops, these are private conversations, but when they're complaining about their sponsorship agreement, and I know that it's a contract in writing, I'm like, dude, you signed it. And they're like,
absolutely. But at the same time, it's, when you're new to the industry and you're really excited, and all of a sudden a huge company comes and wants to work with you, you're like, yes, I want to do it. And that's when they can kind of come in and take advantage of your excitement levels. And definitely,
but hold on. I want to talk to that point, and I'm probably going to sound more like the manufacturer. But so that right there is the double standard, because you're saying, oh, I'm naive and I don't know. But then in the other breath, you say, but my voice is strong and powerful and it's worth a lot. Well, a professional relationship requires that agreement, that it goes both ways. You don't get to say, oh, I'm naive on the areas that make me have to work more because I have to study this contract, run it by a lawyer, and do all that. But when on the flip side, when you ask me to work or I need to earn money, now I'm worth more because I'm more popular.
So I hear what Matty's saying though. It's I don't know. I hear both sides. So maybe this is something that this podcast can provide. If you're a pilot that is working on becoming, sponsored, maybe even becoming like more of a professional, right? Any level of sponsorship that you're looking into, I think what we're all saying is do your homework and know what you're signing up for. That's really important to just be a big boy or a girl about it. And
I'm playing
really evaluating.
I'm playing devil's advocate because, Drew, like my methodology is I want people on board that get it and buy into the vision and of what we're doing, so like Matty, I've not asked you to sign any contracts or anything, we agree, we handshake, we move forward. And if there's a miscommunication, I'll take the hit. I'll just consider that I wasn't clear enough. But I'm playing devil's advocate because not everybody does business that way, and I think
I can say I didn't sign any. I mean, I was a Rotor Riot team pilot for several months before I came on as a full-time employee, professional pilot, whatever you want to classify me as, and I didn't have to sign anything until it was, we were actually having to sign the documents required by law.
So you wanted to get paid.
Well, I'm sorry I have to pay a mortgage. Jeez.
No, for myself personally, I've never taken that contract. If it was Spectrum gave me a pretty heavy contract, and I was just like, nope. I can't. I've never been able to do it. My like I said, my integrity's always been the first
so not to
thing
pick too much on Trappy and Team BlackSheep, but were these stipulations of who you can and can't associate with, were those laid out in any sort of sponsorship agreement, or did that come kind of after the fact?
No, I have the original thing that he sent me. It was an email, or I think it was a WhatsApp actually text. But he basically laid out the rules, and it was I get free gear no matter what. And it doesn't matter how much I need, I get free gear. I never abused it. I only took what I needed. And I'm sure he didn't like that because he always had to pay more for shipping to get it from China. But that's just not the type of person I am. I only took whatever I needed, right? And then we didn't have any restrictions on if we could fly other gear. He didn't care. And basically, it didn't matter how many videos I posted. And that was it. He's like, that's it. And
but see, and that's just it. But I still think, even though he wasn't required, and see, that's when it comes down to having a good, what I'm saying, tongue tie. When you have a good relationship between the sponsor and the sponsee, you can really have magic happen, because you're saying there were no real harsh rules or requirements for what you had to do, right? But I remember as I was getting into this industry, right, and kind of looking up to all you sponsored pro pilots, I mean, I remember seeing like the care package that you would receive from Trapping. I'm like, that is so cool, right? That I would see this box of the tangos and motors and frames. I'm like, that's so awesome that a company believes in, what I see as what you're producing is just an art form, right? So a company believes in your art so much that they're willing to support it and make sure that you can keep creating that art. And seeing that company took care of you gave me huge respect for Team BlackSheep. And I was just a big fan that they would support your work that way. So there's a lot of value to be had over a pilot working well with that brand.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that because, Drew, we can talk about two pilots that you brought in and said, hey, can we sponsor them? Do you want to talk about them and why you wanted to? Yeah,
I'm super excited about this. This will probably have been announced more officially on some other forums by the time this airs, but we've taken on some new sponsored pilots for Hype Train Motor Company. It's kind of a branch of Rotor Riot. We make motors, our freestyle motor, the Drib motor, Umagod motor, and of course there are more coming. But we brought on Gabby. I always say his name wrong. Gabby Chavez. I always say it wrong. Gabby Chavez and Alex Vanover as racers, right? And
nice.
So this goes back to what we were talking about earlier about what do you look for? Is it racing or freestyle or social media, whatever? And I would say they're both competitive. Alex has a bunch of wins under his belt. Gabby he won the rookie track at the last year's Multi-GP International Open, and I'm hoping to see him win more. But even if he doesn't, why I was more interested in Gabby and Alex, both of them, was because they're fierce competitors, but they really have great personalities. They really believe in our brand and what we're doing. They were already big fans and supporters of Rotor Riot and everything that we were doing. And when we reached out to them, they were excited about it. We're excited about it. And they just support where we want this industry, where we want the culture, where we want the community to go.
Is Gab Gab004 or
no, this is Gabby Chavez. You might know him as a professional Indy car driver. He is actually a professional race car driver.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, so we are we're expecting him to be quite competitive. We'll just say that. And
I want to be his friend. I want to drive an IndyCar at some point.
I did. He came to Detroit. He came to Detroit and took me for a ride in an IndyCar. It was freaking amazing.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he came to Detroit. There was a
not just for that.
No. So every year there's a big Indy race on Belle Isle.
But an IndyCar only is a one-seater.
Well, they have special two-seaters for these events where they bring people on, and it's a spec built. It's the exact same car, but they lengthen it a bit and put in the second seat. I actually sat behind him.
Matty doesn't watch the show.
You don't watch my vlog.
No, or Rotor Riot.
Yeah, well, this was on Rotor Riot too, because we went all the way out to Indianapolis to do the same thing, right? So he was coming to Detroit. This was how I met Gabby. Let's back way up. He messages me, this dude. He says, "Hey, I don't know if you've ever heard of me. I'm Gabby. I'm a professional IndyCar driver. I'm coming in for the Indy event on Belle Isle. I fly quads."
No big thing.
But he was like, "I was hoping you could show me some of the bandos, and in exchange, I could give you a ride in an IndyCar." And I'm like, "What?" So we had a great time flying. I mean, and honestly, I was like, I would have been happy I love showing people around when they come into town. But we went to a couple spots. He crushed it and bounced off all the brick walls. And then, we went for a ride, and it was terrifying but amazing.
Yeah, I don't know if everyone knows this, but I own a shifter cart, and the shifter cart is basically what these guys race before they get into an actual Indy cart. And on a 1-to-1 scale, you pull the same G's. You actually have to have a little bit more of a reaction time in the shifter cart, and it is a nutty ride. The shifter cart that I have is just fucking crazy, and you shift from first into third, and it just literally feels like you just got punched in the face. So it's a passion of mine, just like the speed and the racing and all that stuff. So.
Well, Matty, we'll have to get you two linked up. So, I mean, like I said, we went to Indianapolis to do an official Rotor Riot episode with the company that Gabby does these demo rides for, right? We were going to chase the cars. We were going to ride in the cars. We had all this fun plan, and then it torrential downpoured. We ended up having a great time in go-karts, but we are going to try to reschedule this. So when we do, we'll have to get you out. You'll have to come.
110%.
Well, so to back up to the point that I wanted to get to is, I think sponsors typically find the people that are naturally passionate about their products and what they're doing.
Exactly. Both Alex and Gabby were, they
were already
flying.
Using Rotor Riot products.
And they just love it. They love the product. They love the experience of flight. They want to share it. They want to, what we like to say, grow the hobby. They want to bring more people into it. They want to inspire others. And that's why, Alex just won a big race and I'm psyched for him, but honestly, I don't care if he lost. I'm more excited about who he is and how he represents himself and the Rotor Riot brands.
Well, and when we were out visiting Gabby, we were in his workshop room where he builds his quads, and there was a quad box sitting there. And I asked him about it. I'm like, "Oh, you get quad box?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah." And he started telling me about it. And I'm like, yeah, I know about it. That's Daniel and I from X-Hover. And he's like, "Oh, really?" So he didn't even know that Daniel and I started Quadbox, and he was purchasing it. So when I see that, when a product stands on its own and somebody's excited about it and excited to share it, then that's a real connection. I think that's what we'd look for. I don't want a bunch of people to send in emails and call, and try to get sponsored by Rotor Riot, because we're going to keep it very limited, because we're just learning what it's like to sponsor people.
Yeah, a big shout out to Alex and Gabby for basically stepping into the unknown. We were very upfront with them, saying we haven't really sponsored anyone for like this before, so this is a learning curve.
Also Wara GP, I don't want to overlook Wara. He got Tommy's frame sponsored. And,
I would say he's sponsored by Umagod. Tommy takes great care of him. Yeah, he was one of the first testers for the remix frame, and he's got 7 of them built. I just flew with him in Atlanta, and he's got this fleet. He has more remixes than Tommy has ever had. It's nuts. Seriously. Really, I'm serious.
And he's a great pilot.
Yes, absolutely. Look up Wara GP, Gabby Chavez. No, did I say that one right? Yes, Gabby.
Cannonball.
That's his pilot name, and Alex Vanover, which is Captain Vanover. Those are all our pilots.
So that's the flip side of sponsoring.
Yeah.
Have we covered all the bases? I'm sure it's hard to cover all the bases in an hour discussion about it, but I think, if you're looking for a sponsorship, try to find someone where obviously where you believe in their product, and try to get that following up, and try to get out to some events just so you can stay on paper. Because I know there's a lot of people that always ask me, like, how do you get sponsorships? And I think that those are the two main things: is getting your following going on social media, and definitely trying to get out to those events. And
if you're passionate about a product, they'll come to you. But if there's a product that you want to reach out to, I think if you're going to reach out to someone, lead with what you're bringing to the table. I think too many people approach companies saying, I want XYZ. But if you lead with, this is how I can help your brand. I can provide educational content. I can win races. I can do whatever it is.
Or do that first.
What?
Win the race first, then go to them.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. And be a fan of the product first, right? Just like we were saying, if you're a big fan of the product beforehand.
But do something extraordinary with the product, because there's a lot of people passionate about products, but people that are passionate about the product that do something special or extraordinary with the product, then, in my opinion, that becomes a shoo-in.
Mm-hmm. And hey, there's times too when people first get into the hobby and they just want a sponsorship right away because obviously they want parts and stuff like that. But you have to put in your time. You can't. There's no fast way of doing it. You got to put in your time for how much stick time you have, how many times you've broken something and had to rebuild it. All these things are something where I was fortunate enough to be able to be one of the first pilots. Not first, but I would say I was in the first big year of the Charpoos, the Just
70.
Just 70. Mm-hmm. And then Drone Nationals, and I was fortunate enough to have a YouTube channel that kind of got some traction.
Blew the F
and
up.
It was a little bit easier for me, but nowadays it's so much harder. You really do have to think outside the box to get your content.
I mean, no, you had to think outside the box to begin with. I mean, the bar doesn't get higher; it just changes, right? So, I mean.
Well, it gets higher.
You invented the Matty flip, right? So you invented the whole backward style of flying. You were pretty freaking outside the box. And now, just what does outside the box mean? It's different. I mean, actually, this is a great thing to touch on, right? Because some of my detractors would say that my sponsors haven't come from pilot skill. It's come from because I have a vlog, and my vlog has
your hair color.
And my hair color. And personally, I would say, so what? I'm still providing the value to the company through exposure, brand awareness. There is educational content built into my vlogs around those products. So it's not, I think that's a big point we forgot, is that I think it's a misconception that pilot skill alone is going to dictate sponsors. I mean, and this is true in any industry. It's true in skateboarding that there are extremely talented skateboarders that never become amateur, never become pro because they don't provide the value to the brands that companies are looking for. They don't maybe have a good social media presence or even maybe a fitting personality for certain brands.
Maybe they just don't give a shit. Maybe they're just skateboarding to skateboard.
That's true too. That is perfectly fine as well. I guess bottom line is it's not gone are the days, if it was ever so, that pilot skill alone is going to get you sponsorships, right?
Well, yeah, and I'll tell you flat out, like what I would look for is it's the total package. It's the skill, it's the social media, it's the charisma.
Well, and that's because your Rotor Riot brand has a mission, right? And that's entertaining content. I mean, Rotor Riot's core thing. Its core thing is a TV, is a YouTube show, right? Where you need fun personalities, right? And I mean, like I don't want to like Bachgrinder. I don't want to talk smack, but I mean, he may not be the most talented pilot, though he is rapidly improving. But why we love having him on the show is because he is a character. He's a good soul. He cares about inspiring and educating others. He fits all those things.
He very much aligns with our company values.
Absolutely.
I have to actually message him back. I did see it, buddy. If you are listening to this, I did see your message. It's gone way down in the queue. The queue of messages that I have to go back and read.
Oh, these sponsored pilots are too busy to reply to their fans.
Well, for me, it's actual life stuff. But he actually messaged me and asked me if he heard that I'm into Bitcoin, So
No.
a way to bridge in Bitcoin to this place. Bitcoin. It's
No,
going
Matty.
back up.
Wait, you were gonna say something earlier that was on topic, or were you gonna butt in about Bitcoin?
No, I was gonna butt in. I was gonna ask you guys when you guys are gonna sponsor your first girl pilot.
Ah.
So that comes up every night. So yeah, that comes up from both sides. There are camps that say, why don't more companies make an effort to sponsor and bring girls into the limelight? And then at the same time, they're saying, I hate that girls get more attention, right? And I could kind of see both sides, but it's silly. I mean, like, if a female pilot's getting more attention, it's because these companies want to promote diversity in this hobby, and right now it's a predominantly male-dominated sport. So companies looking for talented female pilots or personalities or whatever, you know, to bring on and represent their brand. I love it. And
without bringing up names, you know, we've talked to some, and it just hasn't become exactly the right fit yet. Part of it is because of that is on our side, because we're just starting to determine what is a Rotor Riot sponsorship. So in the case of Alex and Gabby, it's a Hype Train sponsorship. So yes. Hype Train is obviously associated with Rotor Riot, but it's not a Rotor Riot sponsorship. War GP is an Omagod sponsorship. So we don't. So I guess the official Rotor Riot sponsored pilots are the ones on the show.
Right. So yeah, I mean that's that, and I don't think you sponsored me because I was a phenomenal pilot or anything. It was more, I think you were looking for. You saw my media. I was doing YouTube videos. And you're like, you can do that and fly.
But to be a Rotor Riot sponsored pilot, you got to be the total package. You got to be able to fly. You got to have the charisma. You got to have.
I was just fishing for a compliment. Thank you.
Well, you got it. So
you're good. You're good, Drew. You're good.
Thanks. So, I need that to be said in every podcast.
But real quick, to answer Matty's question, so the reason I broke that down a little bit is because, quite honestly, not that I know of, are there any female pilots flying Hype Train motors?
No, Miss Creature is.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, she's just getting started. I mean,
right.
She's,
so,
yeah. So
but that's what I'm saying. I just wanted to shout that out there.
Miss Creature actually sent me a shirt that she designed.
Oh, they're all
great. A nice little card. I actually still have the picture for a social media post. I want to do a shout out for her. She's a very talented artist.
I have already hired and paid her to design a T-shirt, and she sent me a whole bunch of questions that she wanted me to answer, and it's been weeks, and I haven't gotten back to her. So she's going to make a new T-shirt for me. I just need to do my homework.
You know, she lives like maybe an hour away and like a half an hour or like an hour ferry ride away from it. Yeah, she's in the exact same city. Pretty much.
That's excellent.
She's in
very
Victoria, so you have
artist.
to take it.
Miss Creature, she's a pilot, but also just a phenomenal illustrator and artist. So, yes. I mean, again, she gets attention for her artwork.
I haven't really seen her fly that much. But she's the type of person where if she puts in the time, she has that mind-muscle connection with her creative soul and being an artist. She's going to be really good at being a freestyle pilot.
Oh, I
believe.
I think she's going to do quite well. But like I said, she's just starting. She's just putting some of her, first flight videos out there. But yeah,
what about Drone Doll?
She's great. I don't know if she flies any Rotor Riot products.
I don't think she does currently, but I've flown with her. She's great. She's been on my vlog. She's been on Rotor Riot episodes. And then I don't know how much she's really pushing to look for those sort of opportunities right now. I mean, her channel with Simon has gone kind of quiet right now. I know they're working on some other stuff. But yeah, I mean, we have worked with her and Simon before.
In regards to how talented the pilot is, I think that Drone Doll is probably one of my favorite female pilots for flying.
I would agree. Yeah.
She's really good. She's really smooth, and she has good flow and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. So Nicole, Willie's girlfriend,
Harley Quinn.
Have you seen her stuff?
Harley Quinn.
Harley
Quinn FPV.
Yeah, but her real name's Nicole, right?
Yeah, it's Nicole.
Yeah, I've seen her stuff.
Yeah, she's really good. I think and you know what? Now that you mention it, I saw Hype Trains on her last rig.
Yeah, because Willie was like, I want to fly my own motors. Here, take these leftovers. We were hooking Willie up with motors, and then he just comes out with his own. What the? No, I'm actually really proud of Willie. I'm just giving.
Well, hey, but
talking
she's
crap.
not flying his, right?
Well, because he's keeping them all for himself. That's the type of person Willie is. Won't
Yeah,
even
but
give his own signature motors to his girlfriend.
She's gonna get better than him, right?
Absolutely. It's not that hard. I don't know why I'm giving Willie so much crap. I love it. He's probably my favorite pilot. Maybe it's out of jealousy. I'm just giving him crap out of jealousy. Well, you know what? The one thing. So we were talking a lot about the Rotor Riot stuff. I guess I want to talk about like just a little bit about my personal experience of becoming a Rotor Riot sponsored pilot and how that transitioned to even more. Right. So, you know, Chad, you reached out to me. So I've been following your vlog. I like, you know, what you're doing with that. Seeing your flying improve. We'd love to work together. Right. So you flew me out to California, went on a road trip with Tommy and Nowak, had an amazing time. We talked during that trip. You know, you were upfront being like, I want to do more with you. It didn't happen immediately. It was, you know, over the course of time. But, you know, I got to be closer with the company and with you. And, you know, eventually we talked about bringing me on officially. And you were very clear about what that would mean, right? So you would, you know, I'd get to be in episodes. Travel would be paid for to get to these locations. It helped me out with product where possible, right? I mean, I started getting care packages from some of our partners like RunCam and Immersion RC. So
random care packages.
Pretty much. No, I did start getting, I was like, did someone, I mean, recently, hell, just the other month, I got a big old box of propellers from Zong at HQ Prop. No note, no anything. And I was like, Zong, and you didn't even know about it. I was like, what's up? And I messaged Zong. I said, did you send me props? And he's like, yep, enjoy. So thanks. But point is, it was upfront about what, you know, there was no contract. There was nothing signed officially, but it was just kind of, you know, informally agreeing, you know, this is what we're going to provide you with. It's, you know, travel, product, exposure, opportunities, connections within the industry, and this is what we want out of you. Be on the show.
What we want out of you is have a good time.
That was, I mean, yeah. I mean, I was stressed one of our first trips after I had become an official pilot. I was like, we got to get all this stuff done. We got to get all this work done. And you're like, Drew, your job is to have a good time tomorrow. We're filming tomorrow. And if you're stressed, you're not doing your job. So relax. And I'm like, but anyway, why I bring all this up is because as I continue to work with the brand as a sponsored pilot and as a guest cast member of the show, you know, then we started talking about expanding responsibilities and actually coming on as a full-time employee, which I like to say makes me a professional pilot. But you can argue about whatever defines a professional pilot.
Well, by definition, you are
paid to fly.
Yeah.
And I'm 107 licensed. But
I wish I was paid to fly. I was stuck in traffic today, getting home just to do this podcast.
Get the podcast.
We're glad you're here, though, Matty.
Sorry.
We're glad you're here, though.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm saying is then what coming with that is then, so now as an employee, now there was a new set of responsibilities, right? Product development, brand development, kicking off new initiatives like, oddly enough, sponsorships of new pilots, new things like quad camp. All that stuff is stuff that took the place of my last job, right? That's, you know, that's where the time transfer. So just thinking about maybe going from being a sponsored pilot to actually working in the industry, what the differences are, how more responsibilities come with it, and a different set of benefits. So, I mean, now I am paid by Rotor Riot to do those other responsibilities.
Yeah, you know what, Ashley, I left out is how much fun I've had working with Chase in developing a motor that can take the punishment that I give it and a frame. Those are some things that I love doing too. Is the product development once you're actually sponsored by a pilot.
Well, now that you're looking for more sponsors, let me just say, if any companies are up for a challenge, working with Matty on developing products will be quite the challenge because you know he's running the most ridiculous setup, 6-cell batteries, 7-inch props, high KV motors, whatever, all the ridiculousness. So if you're up for a challenge, good luck.
I think that we kind of have that figured out now. It's more I got to find RF and some video VTXs and cameras and basically a radio. I might just go back to the old Tyrannus.
Yeah.
The old Tyrannus.
Well, I think we got you covered on cameras and
the Rotor Riot camera.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I'd love to give you motors, but I know you have a close relationship with Chase, and honestly, I don't know if our motors could handle 6-cell batteries, 6-inch props.
Well, they
full
can.
Throttle.
Gabby's doing it.
You're right. Actually, Gabby did send us a video. He was running 6-cell batteries on our Hype Train Freestyle, which is a 2450 kV, and he was saying that it was warm, but not even. Oh, and then
you know what? I think there's a misconception with motors. I think that you can do it, especially if you're running the naked bottom ones, because it does exhaust the heat out of them pretty good. But it's more flight controller and ESCs where there's limitations. I think that you can always do. I think your motors will run. They might not be exactly meant to run them, and I don't know how long they'll last. But like for me, I have Rebel motors that I've been running for like 2 years now. Whenever they came out, the V1s. Whenever the V1s came out, and they're not even naked bottoms, and they've been through so much shit. Like they come down some days in the hot summer days, they'd come down, and if I was flying really hard, or just depending on what kind of tricks I was doing, if I was doing punching out like a madman, they'd come down and they would burn your finger, and they've been doing that for a year. Get the plug.
What's Rebel's website? Link in the description. What is it? Rebel Mini Quads.
I don't really know actually. Just search.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, you don't even know.
It's Rebel Mini Quads.
I'm the worst. Okay. I'm the worst sponsored pilot ever. But
Jesus. I think link in the description.
RebelMiniQuads.com. Oh shit.
What?
Oh man, I forgot to do the notes. Now I'm going to have to go back and listen to all the shit that we just talked about when I could have been writing down here.
So let's talk about Matty's responsibilities in doing this podcast. One of them, aside from just providing us with his gorgeous face and sultry voice and hilarious commentary and unwanted Bitcoin advice, he also has to do the notes. So if you look in the description, we have timestamps so you can jump to certain sections. And
listen.
Now you get to rewatch it.
This is the Unrestricted podcast. I'm gonna dedicate at least 2 minutes to this fucking Bitcoin, okay? God damn it. God damn you, Drew.
Wait, real quick.
It's going up.
Before we wrap up and go to Bitcoin and cut that part out for the final release, Matty, you wanted to start getting sponsors for the show, right?
Yeah, I mean, we want to try to see if we can get some sponsors for the show, and I think it would be a very mutually beneficial relationship if there's any sponsorships or academic sponsors.
Tide,
would it be?
Tide, they sponsored the Super Bowl 3 times. Could they throw us some money? Did you see? You probably didn't watch the Super Bowl up in Canada, but Tide threw down dollars for Super Bowl advertisements.
Hey, why would you think that I didn't watch the Super Bowl?
I don't know. Don't you have some Canadian version of football that's tougher?
No, you know what's funny is I was supposed to go to a hockey game tonight, Canucks versus Avalanche, and I was like, nope, I got responsibilities. I got to do this podcast.
Wow.
I love you for
Matty, right here, you just went up a notch.
Well, considering I've been in that sport for the last 27 years, and I've gone to see so many NHL games, it could make you sick.
You got your fill of it. So, hey, let's do this. To get the ball rolling, why don't we say for the next podcast, why don't we name a price just for the next one? Not that it would be everything.
For the low introductory price.
Yeah, just a one-time.
Well, the thing is, our sponsors would have to buy Bitcoin because I would only take Bitcoin.
Oh my God!
Dude, you are ruining our credibility. We were almost about to get paid.
We'll do regular fiat cash, but at the same time, we do take Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum, okay? And Bitcoin's going up.
So give me a US dollar
you're gonna
amount
get more
that you're
bang
looking
for your buck.
For sponsoring the next episode.
So what's a good price for
I don't know. If anyone's out there and they want to get on sponsorships for the Rotor Riot podcast, we could do billboards and all that stuff. Contact us. And we'll work out a deal. We'll be fair.
Contact Matty.
Well, no, maybe Rotor Riot.
No, because they're all going to contact me.
Yeah, no, I think that's the better way to do it because you're kind of well known.
No, I think that you got this, Matty. I believe in you. Do you need a Rotor Riot email? We can get you a Rotor Riot email.
Okay, there we go.
So give me Matty at rotorriot.com.
Matty at rotorriot.com. Send an email. All caps subject line. We're giving you money.
If you guys want any Bitcoin advice or 6-inch setup advice, if you have any topics you'd like to hear on the show, give me an email. If you want
you're opening up
I'm
trying to say only email you if you want the sponsorship. You just open up the floodgates. You're gonna get all the emails.
Yeah, if you want to troll me, by all means, just allow me to be able to troll you back if that's the case. And,
you can't ask to troll. It defeats the purpose.
So that's Matty at rotorriot.com.
Matty.
We're at an hour and 5 minutes. Should we wrap it up? Is there anything you guys missed out or left out or
Yeah, I think there was a whole nother topic we were going to cover about working in the industry.
I tried to get us into it.
No, but that's fine. We'll hit it next time.
All right, yeah.
I think that we should do a follow-up on this episode then in the near future.
So,
all right, so
I guess let's close out with shout out to our sponsors. For me, that's Mini Quad Club and Rotor Riot.
Yeah, and for me, it's who is it again? Rebel, Tiny What? I think that's about it. Bitcoin. If Bitcoin wants to sponsor me, oh my god, I'll die. This is the thing that people don't realize. This is my 1 minute towards Bitcoin, okay? Just because it's going down doesn't mean I'm losing money. You can short Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin's going down, you can take your money out of altcoins, put it into Bitcoin. When Bitcoin goes down, altcoins go down. Then you have more buying power. If you guys want lessons, financial advice, I know Drew, you have Bitcoin too. If you want if you want, I'll send you messages. Get onto Binance.
I'm good.
It's an exchange.
I'm on it. I'm good.
No, I'm telling Drew. I'm trying to teach you how to make money, man. Drew. I'm killing it. I'm killing it right now. I'll send you out texts when you should hit altcoins hard, and then just throw your money into it. I'll send you another text when you're ready to pull out, and just swing trade. We'll swing trade. If you want me to manage your
portfolio,
portfolio,
send you texts about where to throw your money.
If you want me to manage your portfolio, I'm more than happy to do that too.
Okay,
I'm not joking. I manage a couple people's portfolios now, and basically what it is if I basically cover their losses if there's losses, and that's how much confidence I have in this marketplace now.
So okay, Matty. So if I just give you $2,000 and say
I will
match,
cover that bet. I will cover that bet, and I will. But once we've made that money back, I only cover the $2,000 that you initially gave me. But I'll play with your profit. So if I make you $1,000 worth of profit, now I'm playing with that profit. And
how long will it take you to get the 1,000?
I'm going to make 50% of that money too.
But 50% of the profit only.
Yeah. So it's basically it's a risk-free investment. It's a risk-free investment.
I'll do it.
Nothing like a risk-free investment.
Look, Matty, you just gained a customer.
Listen, this is what I'm going to tell you guys, okay? Saying that Bitcoin's not going to be around is like saying
no one said that.
Emails.
No one said that.
I know, but people say that it's overvalued. It's not overvalued. It's undervalued like fucking crazy. And this is what's going to happen. I've been studying Elliott Wave, okay? And the Elliott Wave says that Bitcoin's going to go to a certain price. Right now it's at $12,000. It's going to go back down to $6,000. It needs to do these sequences before it can go back up. So we have right now we're at a peak of the fifth wave, and it's going to go back down. And then after that, we're in the clear, and it's just going to go through the roof. And mark my fucking words, It'll be I think it's going to be at 30 grand by the end of the year.
All right, I'll give you some money and just see what happens.
I think this reoccurring segment is just, whether we like it or not, it's just a thing. But I can't hate on it. I mean, just like I include coffee and makeup in my vlogs to try and reach a broader audience. I think you putting this Bitcoin bit in here hopefully will reach someone. Let us know. You like Matty?
Lot of people
Bitcoin with Matty. It's an official.
A lot of people have messaged me about this particular topic, and I've given some advice to people. It is something where you can lose your shirt. You have to take it very seriously. You have to do your own research. You have to research the coins that you're investing in. You have to research, if that company has a development team and a product that's actually like feasible, and not just throw your money at stuff willy-nilly. If you do that, you're going to get burnt really quickly. And so it's Matt. Is it going to be Matty at rotorriot.com?
Yep, Matty. right?
Also, message Matty at rotorriot.com if you want me to start managing your portfolio.
Whoa, I'm just want to officially say that does not in any way put Rotor Riot, the company, liable for any of Matty's promises. Any Bitcoin work performed by MattyStuntz is not affiliated with Rotor Riot LLC. That is an official statement.
Thank you, Drew. Thank you.
Okay, if you want to send it to matty.augustine@gmail.com if you want.
There we go. Please do that. Keep your
risk-free
Bitcoin
management
out of our liability. Our limited liability. Jeez.
All right, can we wrap this up?
What's on the docket for next week? What are we going to discuss?
Well, the topic I was excited to talk about was working in the industry. So about getting jobs, what the future holds, what kind of jobs currently exist. That's something I was excited to talk about.
So this week we covered sponsorships, and next week we're going to go even deeper, making careers out of FPV. Stay tuned. We are on...
And maybe some other crazy shit, too. Fuck, let's...
Of course we'll have Bitcoin with Matty. Of course.
Okay. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate your support.
We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify. We're on Google Play. If we're not on Stitcher yet, we'll get there. If we're not on a source that you want, leave a comment on our YouTube video where, of course, we upload the video version so you can follow along and see. There's a guy in the background of Matty. See, look what you'd be missing out on if you just listened to the audio. Some rando just walked through Matty's garage. You would have missed that. So thank you for tuning in.
So, hey, if you're still listening, oh, wow.
This is Mikey B, by the way. This is who I rent a suite from. He's one of my best buddies. We ride motorcycles together. This is actually his garage.
And I have work to do.
And he has work to do, so this is perfect timing.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's wrap it up. Thank you, guys. Thank you for watching. Share. If you want to keep seeing it on YouTube, share it with people so it makes it worthwhile for us to do the upload.
Absolutely.
If not, just listen to it on the audio. So
if you ever see Mikey B stunts trolling me, just give it to him hard. He likes it. He always trolls my shit, no matter what. Okay,
Thanks,
guys.
everybody.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys. Bye.